my mom called me malukut, which means I couldn't sit still. I used to get a lot of bingots. For those who don't know, it's one of these, and I just couldn't sit still, and that led me to just being the guinea pig.
Biz as usual. Got lifted, increasing digits. Money, take a break, cause yeah, boy, I live.
What's good, y'all? Happy 2023. I hope 2022 served y'all well, like it's done me, way better than last year. And yes, today's episode of the Bryan Biz Becoming Better series, aka B4, episode number 3, is all about my physical being from the past until now. So, starting off with the past, as a child, I was very, very active. Some say hyperactive. Some say I had ADHD. My wife will tell you that I probably still have ADHD. And yes, so being hyperactive and just being kind of all over the place, I guess my mom called me malukut, which means I couldn't sit still. I used to get a lot of bingots. For those who don't know, it's one of these, and I just couldn't sit still, and that led me to just being the guinea pig pretty much of all the wrestling moves. I grew up at the WWF, WCW wrestling days, early 90s, mid 90s, and man, it was stressful for me anyways, because I was the youngest one out of all my cousins at the time. They're all older than me now, in their 40s now, even in the 50s, and I was just, like I said, a guinea pig, and I wasn't really accepting to it. But now, or not now, but later on in life, it for sure served me, growing up in the city, which I will touch on in a little bit. So that was like my really first encounter with being physical, is just being bullied by my cousins. Like I said, the guinea pig to all the wrestling moves, and it was rough to say the least. That really like grew a chip on my shoulder, and it really made me a competitive person, like, you know, like really, really competitive. And every little thing that we did, growing up in school, elementary school, I was playing dodgeball, kickball, handball, anything, basketball, anything with the ball, just anything in general, tag. I was just super hyperactive, very, very challenging myself, and very, very competitive, to say the least. And I would say my first real physical love was basketball. And in the 6th grade, I tried out for the basketball team, and I didn't make it to the team because, you know, I just played for fun. I never really practiced and never really had the push to, like, you know, do more than just play for fun. Not necessarily like practice layups or anything like that. I never did none of that up until that time. So I didn't make the team, and I kind of like really like hindered my willingness to try out for any team, because I just didn't like that feeling, and it made me feel very, very sad. And the next following year, me and my friends at the time, we kind of just started skateboarding. We had like just a regular skateboard, and we just started skateboarding, and I got really, really infatuated with that, and started learning all kinds of tricks and moves, and was just getting after it. And I say about after a week, I was learning how to kickflip and ollie and all that. I was just super concentrated on that. Like every little thing I did, like I said, I'm very competitive, and I just kind of go all in, and I get super hyper focused on just that one thing. And yeah, that was a great thing at that time. Kept me distracted from the stuff that was going on at that time. I actually lost my grandma during that time. Rest in peace, Grandma Ray. I love you. And that really was like the first instant of me using physical activities to really distract myself from trauma and just sadness and depression, I guess, now that I'm thinking about it right now. And when I was 13, I'm sad to say this, but we kind of like, me and our group of friends that we accumulated and kind of like started the skateboard trend at Aptis Middle School. We like developed a big clique, and we kind of just ditched one of my closest friends at the time, and that I grew up with since kindergarten. And I would like to say right now, I apologize to him, and as a grown man, like, if I ever see him, I'll most definitely apologize to him. And because I know how that feels, because the following year the same thing happened to me. All my friends abandoned me during a very, very sad time. My mom died when I was 14, and that really kind of just effed me over. And I was just in a very, very sad place, distracting myself with all kinds of shit, and was just kind of getting into trouble, playing football, playing anything that I could get my hands on. Luckily, I had my sister and all her friends took me in, little bro'd me, and I really, really appreciate that. Her friends became my friends, and I was just busy doing what older kids were doing at that time in high school, even though, I was very, very young and wet behind the ears, not even hitting puberty yet. And anyways, just going along, high school, I was just always just busy, always just keeping myself busy, and physicalities I was just always hyperactive. And at that time, I started smoking weed, and that really like helped me calm down a lot. Kind of like medicine per se. I remember they tried to give me Ritalin one time, but I don't like medicines, and I was just like, fuck that. So I kind of just self-medicated through weed, and I met a lot of my friends till this day through weed, and we're all just chilling. And at that time, I was really just trying to fit in, trying to find my own friends, and just trying to just be a part of things. And like I said, in high school, I was just playing everything: football, basketball. During PE class, I was always the standout pupil per se. My gym teacher always made me do more than everybody else because I was just active all the time. I remember, for one instance, we used to run laps, or run a mile, which would consist of many, many laps around the gym. And I remember my one good friend Mario, shouts out to you, puto. At that time, he was just not even trying to run at all. He was just walking around the gym. I used to just run laps, like maybe like 4 or 5 laps. I run it fast and then maybe walk a lap with him. And yeah, he's the padrino godfather to one of my children's. So shout out to you again, puto. I love you. And yeah, that was high school pretty much. And then once I hit 18, or no, let me backtrack a little bit. At 17, some, I guess other kids were kind of like not necessarily jealous, but I started slanging weed, and I just had the plug because that's when the weed clubs first came out. I got a fake weed card, so I was getting weed for super cheap. And at that time, the people who were selling the weed were out of town from like up north, Humboldt and Mendocino County. They didn't know the San Francisco prices of weed, and they used to sell me weed for really, really cheap. And I pretty much just flipped that to 10 sacks and dub sacks at high school and just sold it to the drug dealers so they could make way more money. And I guess people were kind of jealous of that. And, at that time I was feeling myself. My hair grew long. I used to always get braided every week. And it kind of just, I guess, made people jaded towards me. And I started feeling threatened. People started threatening me. So I started taking up Kung Fu class. Shout outs to my Tito June, my Sifu now. I love you, Sifu, Tito June. And Sifu E.Y. Lee, rest in peace. And yes, that taught me not necessarily how to fight, but just the basics of when I punch and stuff like that, because I only did it for about a year. And the main thing that I really learned from Kung Fu was to meditate, and that really helped me to really just hone in and just be one with everything and just not think about anything at all. Just really just clear my mind. And that was the first time that I was really just zen and peace. And, you know, I loved it. And that's one of the main things that I took from that. I was off and on with Kung Fu for pretty much up until 2021. And I'll get back into that in a little bit. And like I said, bringing back the wrestling, I was, you know, like I said, growing up in the city, the wrestling, my cousins beating me up, mixed with the Kung Fu, I learned how to defend myself really well. And every little fight that I got into, I was able to win and beat other people up, which was, to my surprise, very shocking, because all the kids that I fought were a lot bigger than me. And, you know, I'm not that big of a dude. I'm 5'8". At that time, probably like $130. At the most, I was ever like $160. And, like, it was amazing to me. And it kind of just blew my head ego-wise. I was very big-headed. And I thought I was the shit. And, yeah, I was really just loving myself at that time. And it was just something that I used to really brag about. And during, you know, me having a big ego with fighting, I got into a lot of fights, like I said. But one of my last fights was with one of my closest friends, and that kind of like deterred me to not fight anymore. After our fight, I really broke down, started bawling out of control. I was so sorry. I didn't want to hurt my friend in any way, but we kind of were just fucked up. I was off of fucking Molly, alcohol, weed, everything, and was just kind of blacked out a little bit. And I don't condone that. So that's the main reason right now. And it's in general, I don't want to fight anymore. That's one of the main reasons why I stopped doing Kung Fu. I never really said that, and I never really was able to say that out loud. So that's the reason, Unc, to the June. That's the main reason why I didn't go through with the Kung Fu. I'm gonna send you this little clip so you understand why. Because, you know, like, that really effed me up. And I just don't want to hurt people. Now, me being a grown man and having children, I've been using my words a lot and just trying to, any like altercations that I've got into after that one fight, I do my best to talk myself out of it, and especially to talk the person who's trying to fight me out of it. And, you know, of course I'm gonna fight if that is, I feel like, the last straw that I need to do. But that, like I said, is gonna be the very last straw. I just don't like any type of physicality, of just being physical, violent with people anymore. Because, you know, nowadays people have weapons, and, you know, you can actually go to jail for beating people up, and that's not, and you can actually kill somebody. You know, that's not what I want to promote. I'm trying to promote nothing but positivity, and just being the best you, the best me that I could be, showing that you could be the best you for everybody. And yeah. So after Kung Fu, at 18, I started lifting weights. I was in college. I was at City College, and I joined the gym class, and that's when I started lifting weights. Started really just getting it. And like I said, I was getting my hair braided, so that kind of like jaded me. And at that time, I really discovered music, and really was just concentrated on music and just distractions and all kinds of stuff. Just really distracting myself from what was going on in the world. Just being one with my friends, smoking weed, not really being that physical. We played basketball once in a while, and really, I really didn't get it until maybe like at the end of the week. I used to get my hair braided every week, and I didn't want to mess up my braids. So by the end of the cycle, when my braids were getting itchy and stank, I started to work out, hit the gym or something, and was just getting it. And that was like pretty much all throughout my 20s. I was drinking, doing drugs, really a big Molly craze, and me physically back then, it was just kind of like yin and yang. It was weird. Sometimes I felt healthy. I eat salads and stuff, but most times, especially after drinking and just doing bad things with friends, we don't eat that well. Kind of just trying to soak up the alcohol, and I kind of just ate whatever fast food. And those times too, I was able to bounce back way quicker because I was still young, and yeah, I kind of like, it was fun. And I don't regret it, and I probably would do the same things nowadays if I was still back then, especially during those days, the hyphy movement. That was the only time I was really like, really unhealthy, but loving it. And I wasn't feeling sick at that time. But when I did get sick, I was sick. And I was sick for like maybe 2-3 weeks. Had allergies, all kinds of crazy shit. And so fast forward to 2017, after I got married, after I had my child, I was like 29, about to be 30. In the beginning of the year, I was like, all right, I'm gonna start a challenge. I called it the Biz Fitness Challenge, where I just started running every day, 1 mile, 2 miles, and kept on building from that, and started working out, push-ups, pull-ups, anything you could do at a park, jumping on shit and just doing all kinds of crazy shit to get fit and try to look like Bruce Lee. That was my goal by my birthday. From the beginning of the year to my birthday, that was the Biz Fitness Challenge for me to get buff, supposedly. So after the first cycle, 2017, when I turned 30, I didn't hit my goal, obviously, because I was still eating like shit, and I wasn't looking good. And then by that summer, I was feeling kind of bad because, like I said, I wasn't fueling correctly, and I started feeling sick, and it wasn't like the flu sick. It was just feeling like heartburn, and it was just clogginess in the sinuses. And so by the end of the year, I just kind of got tired of it. Beginning of 2018, during the Biz Fitness Challenge, I seen a Nipsey Hussle interview with the Breakfast Club. Shout out to Nipsey Hussle, and he mentioned Dr. Sebi, and introduced me to veganism, and I got more into it, started looking him up, and I became a vegan for about 9 months. And no, I'm a very extreme person, and me and my wife actually got into a fight about it, which is funny to look back on it now. And but at that same time, like, my sickness and all my allergies went away till this day, from me just being a vegan and just really cleansing my body from all the bad shit. And man, I couldn't believe I really did become a vegan, thinking about it now. And then I was like really experimenting with fasting and experimenting with all kinds of shit, like Wim Hof breathing exercises, and just really discovering who I was, journaling. I taught myself how to write cursive, all kinds of craziness. And so 2018, Biz Fitness Challenge again, getting closer, but didn't achieve it. So I started to run. I was always running ever since a little boy, because running was just a thing for me to, become a better athlete and everything else, like, cardio. And that's what I was always just taught about cardio, just to run. And I've always was just a runner at heart. And so when 2018 happens, became a vegan. And then, by 2019, Biz Fitness Challenge again. Discovered David Goggins. And at that time, I was like really like experimenting with fasting and eating once a day, OMAD, 1 meal a day, and David Goggins. So I was doing 2-day workouts, one in the morning, one in the evening, and I injured myself because I wasn't fueling properly, and it was just all over the place trying to figure out my diet and what worked for me. And so at that time, I kind of like was like, fuck it, I'm gonna try keto. So I started doing keto, and by my birthday, I got closer to my Biz Fitness Challenge goal to look like Bruce Lee, but I didn't hit it, of course, because I wasn't hella cut. I was getting there though, and so I decided to do a marathon. Shout out to David Goggins. He kind of just pushed me to do it. He's like, just sign up. So I signed up. Shout outs to my boy B-Boy. He kind of like really pushed me to do the San Francisco 2019 marathon. And yeah, so I kind of just signed up for that marathon. He convinced me to do so. But it was a very short time to prep, about 9-10 weeks. And I wasn't really training hard. Like, I didn't have no training plan, didn't have no nutrition plan. Like I said, I was in ketosis, just doing keto, and didn't have no plan. But I had a goal, but with no plan, so it was more like a dream to run under 3 hours. And I didn't. The marathon happened. I didn't hit my goal. About mile 16, 17, I started cramping up, bonked. People call it the wall, which is pretty much all my glycogen was just all out my system, and being keto for sure didn't help. So at that point, I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do what I have to do, and just ate whatever they gave me on the course. Biofreeze all over my body at the time, and was just fucking cramping. Like, it sucked. The last fucking marathon is 26.2 miles, so about mile 16, 17, that's when I started cramping. So about 9-10 more miles, I was just running, walking, and doing anything I can just to make it to the finish line. And I'm happy to say I made it to the finish line at a respectable time, 3 hours, 50 minutes, some change. But that kind of left a chip on my shoulder because I didn't hit my goal, and I was like, fuck that, I'm gonna hit my goal next year, 2020. I'm gonna run a marathon again and fucking do sub 3 and do it right this time. So I kind of got into Maffetone training. Shout outs to Flores Gearman. He kind of like put me on with Dr. Phil Maffetone. Shout outs to you, doctor. And just his ways of low heart rate training, and started building back from the low heart rate, easy training to reach my sub 3 marathon. So 2020 happens, still did the Biz Fitness Challenge beginning of the year till my birthday. Got really, really close, especially because the pandemic hit and I was not working from March until my birthday in May. And so I really was dialed down. I got back into ketosis to really cut out the carbs, to really get cut. For sure, that was the closest I ever been to getting really, really cut like Bruce Lee. And so, you know, and then, like I said, it was COVID happened, and the marathon I signed up for was CIM 2020. So I started training for that after the Biz Fitness Challenge. And then, of course, the marathon got canceled, like all other marathons got canceled in 2020. So it got deferred for 2021. And yeah, so 2021 happens. Biz Fitness Challenge, kind of there, but not really there, because that's when I lost my grandpa, and I didn't really have no job at that time. I was working for my cousin, and I was just all over the place, very emotional. So, like I said, 2020 CIM got deferred to 2021. So I started training after my birthday for a CIM again. Kept that very, very to myself, hush, hush. Was very selfish with it. And yeah, it was very sad for me. And so by the end of 2021, the marathon hit, I reached my goal. I was very, very happy to say I reached my goal at the CIM 2021. I actually qualified for Boston, and it was very, very blissful. And that made me see and made me believe in myself that I could make it and do anything that I put my mind to. And about a few days after that, I looked up the fastest Filipino in the marathon, and it's this dude named Eduardo, starts with a B. I'll put the name right here somewhere. And he ran the fastest marathon, about 2:18 and some change. So that's my goal now. My major goal is to run that, not anytime soon. It's more like a long-term goal. I give myself about 4 or 5 years. This year, 2023, I'm running the Boston Marathon, qualified for 2021, or the end of 2021 to run for 2023 Boston Marathon in April. And my goal for that marathon is a sub 240, and hopefully every year I could knock out 5-10 minutes, and hopefully in the future I'll be able to hit that sub 218, so I could be the fastest Filipino. And the only reason really why I'm really pushing myself to do that is to show my children that if you really put your mind to it and put the work, training, and everything behind it, you can do anything you want to do. No one really pushed me to do any sports or anything like that, and people say they're in their aerobic prime, mid-30s to early 40s, and right now I'm 35, gonna be 36 this year. This year is my year, 2023, year of the rabbit, and I'm just excited for it and excited for what's to come this year, and just excited for life. Been more happier than ever. Just really concentrated on me and the family and doing what's best for myself to be that man, husband, father, gentleman, and just be physically fit to handle what comes our way, and just be that man to lead and to show my children and anyone else who follows me that if I could do it, they could do it. I'm no one really special. I'm just a hyper kid, still hyper, and show people that if I could do it, they could do it. I started from nothing, just really with the mindset just to get to it, and looking up every little ways to get better at it, and just trying to put my 10,000 hours, trying to get 10,000 miles in. And I feel once I get my 10,000 miles in, that's when I'm gonna hit that goal of running sub 218 and be the fastest Filipino marathoner born ever. And that's the goal. That's my future goal, and that's where I stand physically. And that pretty much wraps up my little rant here. And I just want to say thank y'all for those who made it here. And I want to ask y'all a question. What is your physical goals for 2023, or just goals in general for 2023? And maybe we could just bounce off of each other. Maybe I could help you, or you could help me, and anything that has to do with physicality, because I'm a very, very hyper person, and I'm into a lot of sports. I don't really watch too many sports, but I play all sports, and I just love being physical, and I just use my physicalities to my advantage my whole life. Lucky to say I've never been really injured. I strained myself a few times, but never seriously injured. And you know, any little tips or tricks I could give y'all, I'll let you know. I do all kinds of crazy shit. I do cold plunges, I do sauna treatment, I do hot, cold therapy. I be taking cold showers every time I take a shower. I do lots of breath work. I run. I love to lift weights, but right now I'm just lifting weights to be a stronger runner and just maintaining my upper body by doing push-ups and pull-ups, and nothing too strenuous, nothing too heavy with the upper body right now, just because I know that's not going to help me be a better runner. And anything I can help you with, please let me know. DM me via Instagram. That's the best way to get in contact with me. And yeah, so my goal, like I said, for this year is the Boston Marathon 2023. Holla at me. I have linked down below of where you could donate to the cause. Luckily, I already have a lot of people supporting me, and you know, I'm donating over half of what I get to charity, and I'm just so happy. Like, you know what I mean? This marathon is me being selfless, and I'm gonna share it through other videos, maybe a series. I'm still kind of thinking about how I'm gonna do that. Maybe make another YouTube channel. I'm not sure yet, but I'm gonna share my training weekly. I'm on week 6 right now of my training block out of 20 weeks. And last week was pretty much the first week of really hard training and really concentrated training of Boston building, 16-week building block. So it's about 15 weeks ago till Boston. I'm very, very excited for it. And like I said, I'm raising money. The link down below. Please donate if you can. I'm thinking about making some type of apparel, maybe some hats, maybe some shirts. Please support me any way you can. I would love to support you. Please leave your links, anything down below. And I would love to get in contact and connect with everybody about anything. And depression, anything, your story, like from my last video. Just want to share. And yes, the last video was about my mental. This video is about my physical. The next video of the B4 series will be about spiritual, pretty much mostly about my music, because that's where I'm very, very spiritual, and I get into my zone and everything that has to do with my soul, my spirit, and maybe even talk about religion, maybe. That would be in the next episode. So, you know, and those three, mental, physical, spiritual, makes up me, and you will really get a full understanding of where I come from, what I'm doing now to become a better me. In every way, every day, we getting it. And I would just like to say again, thank you for those who made it to this part of the video. Remember, one, love yourself first. We every day getting it. Yay!
Just live, let it settle in. Patience is the best medicine. I've learned to be what hasn't worked for me. It's worth to see happens when you let it in. And there it is, nothing better than realizing it was there where it's already been. Can you see what I see? When you see, you'll be free, at peace with time till we ever sin.